Hello to all, welcome to the channel Cloud Knowledge. Today in this video we'll study a scenario where we have the input dataset as Excel file which will have a sheet, and in the sheet we'll have the input dataset like this. Okay, so here at the top we have the input dataset. So this dataset is a dummy dataset related to sports event, cricket, and here we have first three columns which are common to the next three columns, and then from Hij, these three columns. Okay, so in this complete selected dataset we have two different datasets and we want to land it into two different outputs. Okay, what happens is that the first three columns are common to this two individual datasets where this data is related to a match held between India versus New Zealand, and then another set here where the match happened between India and West Indies. Okay, so we want the data in the output to be holding first three columns, then the next three columns for this match, and then again output data set with the first three columns, and then these columns should be skipped and we want the data for the next match. Okay, so here in the output data set you can see first data set is like this, first three columns and the next three columns, and then those first three columns which are common and the next match details. Okay, so this is very simple, but still I'll try to demonstrate in Azure Data Factory using data flow activity, and it is very simple. So let's quickly go to the data factory to demonstrate it. So let's go here. Let's create a pipeline. We'll name it as select. Okay, then next we'll be going to take the data flow. We'll name the data flow as data flow select, and we'll connect to the data source. So the data source is already there in my storage account. Here I can show you the sample. So the name of the dataset, input dataset, is selection input.xls. So this is an Excel which is having the data as I've shown you in the main Excel sheet. Okay, first three columns, next three columns, and then details of the next match. Okay, so it is present in the sheet 1 of this Excel. Okay, which I've already shown you at the start. Now this dataset I've also placed in the storage account as selection input.xls inside my storage account and container. Okay, so we'll connect to this selection input.xl. So let's go here. Let's add the source. It's inside the Gen 2 as an Excel. So click Excel. Link service already there. We are going to connect to the source which is present inside the test input folder as selection input.xls. So what happens when we select the Excel, it will show you here itself the sheet option. So we know that our data is present inside the sheet 1 which I've shown you. So we'll select sheet 1. First row will not put as header in this case. Import schema, none. Let's make it and then click OK. Okay, so the source setting is done. We'll go to the data preview. In order to preview the data, we have to enable the data flow debug option. So let's enable it. Let's wait for the cluster to get ready. So it's enabled. Let's click on refresh. So here comes the data. The first three columns, the next three columns, then a blank column was there, and another set with the three columns. Okay, so our next job is to create the two different data sets. So for the first, so in order to create the first output data set, we have to make sure the first three columns are there and the next three columns are present. Okay, since we're not given the first row as header, it has taken the default header options as col 0, col 1, col 2, col 3, col 4. So in order to create the first dataset, we have to select these columns on the basis of the inbuilt header which is defined here. Col 0 to col 4 we have to select from col 0 to col 5 as the first output dataset. So in order to perform that selection, we have the transformation known as select transformation. Okay, so we'll click on the plus sign, and under the schema modifier section we have the select transformation. We'll select that, and here, since the projection is not imported, it is not showing us the column names. So we'll go back to the source and we'll go to the projection tab and click on import projection. Let's wait for some time. It will display. Yeah, so the projection is imported with the column name, type and format. Let's go back to the select, and now since the projection is imported, and if we remove this auto mapping, okay, option from here, we'll see the columns here. Okay, so in the first tab itself of the select transformation, we have the visibility to deselect the columns. So if you carefully look at the data preview of the source, we are interested to take the columns from column 0 to column 5. Means it should be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so what we'll do is after 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 we want to delete. So let's perform the delete by using this delete button, which will remove the mapping. Okay, so let's delete. We have to delete till 6, right? Let's recheck. Yeah. Okay, next we'll go to the data preview section of the select transformation and click on refresh. So the data appeared here. It appeared as the first 3 columns and the next 3 columns. So we have got the first output dataset ready. Okay, so now our job is to create the second dataset. So in order to create the second dataset, we'll create a new branch of the source. So we'll click on the plus sign right after the source and we'll create a new branch out of it, so that the source is replicated, and from the branch of the source we will again attach a select transformation. Okay, for the first select we selected the columns which were required in the first output, and in the next select we will select the columns which are required for the second output. So this was the first select where we have deleted 6, 7, 8, 9, and the second select is created on top of it. Okay, here the first level is the second select, and here you can see in the second select all the columns from 0 to 9, and here our requirement is like we have to select 0, 1, 2, the first 3 columns, and then we have to select 7, 8, 9, right? We are not interested in these columns 3, 4, 5, 6. That means we have to delete 3, 4, 5, 6 in this second select. So we'll go here and we'll remove 3 from here, 4, 5 and then 6. Okay, let's go to the data preview of this select transformation and click on refresh. Okay, so we got the first 3 columns and the next 3 columns. Okay, India versus West Indies. The first one was India versus New Zealand and the second is India versus West Indies. Okay, our next job is to attach the sink. So let's start attaching the sink. So attach a sink, create a dataset, Gen 2, delimited text, inside storage Gen 2, we'll define the location, this time test output folder, click OK, first row as header, click OK, done, and then for the second select also, we'll attach sink, Gen 2, delimited text, then the file path, test input, click OK, first row has header, click OK, done. Okay, we'll go back to the sink one and in the data preview, we'll go and refresh. So we can see the first 3 columns and the next 3 columns. In sink 1, it is the second dataset because the select 2 is here at the top. Okay, so sync 1 is holding our second dataset and sync 2 will be holding our first dataset. So we'll go here in the sync settings and we'll define the file name option. Okay, so we want it in a single file, which will enable the set single partition on. And here we can define the output of the select output. Okay, let's name this as 2.csv because this is for the second dataset. We'll go here, we'll do the same. We'll go to the settings of the sync, file name option, output to single file, set single partition on, and then output to single file as select output 1.csv. Okay, this is done. So the setting is done. Let's validate everything and publish the changes. Go to the pipeline and we'll perform a debug run. So the data flow is in progress. Let's wait for its completion. So it succeeded. Let's go to the test output folder. So here is my container and test output folder. Let's click on refresh. So the names of the files were select. Okay, there is a typo here. Select output 1, output 2. So let's open the output 1 first. Let's go to the edit and preview it. Okay, so we have this extra column coming over here. We want to skip this column. Okay, inbuilt column showing us the header because we have selected first row as header. Let's go here. We'll deselect that option. So let's quickly go to the sync level and open the dataset, CSV dataset. We'll disable the first row as header option. Okay, we'll go to the second sync as well and remove the first row as header option. Okay, and we'll go to the pipeline, perform a debug run. Let's wait for it to finish. So it finished. Let's go back here. We'll close this here and click refresh. We'll select again output 1. Go to the edit section and preview. So now the data looks fine. Okay, we wanted the data to be having the first dataset output shown in one output, and in the next we wanted the data to be like this. Okay, so we have accomplished the task of dividing the data from the same sheet of Excel file, okay, into two different datasets. This was very simple demo on basically the select transformation and Excel dataset as source and output as CSV. So I hope you've got the understanding of how we did this. Thank you for watching the video. Happy learning. Bye.